fie pe No Man's Sky, nu? Nu, mă, tu, nu, tu trebuie să înțelegi, fii atent aici, la sources, dacă te uiți, ai display și game capture. Tu ești pe display capture tot timpul, de aia nu găsești jocul, că n-ai unde să cauți, trebuie să schimbi pe game capture și acolo îți apare meniul în dreapta ce program folosește. Trebuie să dau unul ăsta e Something strange is happening with antimatter at CERN. Fexel channel. Ăsta, FXL, e foarte fain channelul. Și are voce mișto tipul.
You're made of matter.
Auzi-l.
So is your screen. So is everything you've ever
Okay.
seen or touched. But here's the problem. According to physics, there should be something else out there. Your mirror opposite. Antimatter. It's not a theory. We've created it. We've trapped it. We've even moved it between buildings like it was just another lab sample. And yet, despite all that, we still don't know why it's not all around us. Why isn't the universe just a glowing soup of radiation, where matter and antimatter annihilated each other? That's the question physicists at CERN have been chasing for decades. And in 2025, they got another surprise. Scientists working on one of CERN's most advanced detectors found something strange again. Something that shouldn't be happening, but is. It's not just that antimatter is rare, it's that it refuses to behave like it's supposed to. And the more we study it, the more it slips through our understanding. So, what's going on with antimatter at CERN?
I just want to make a small notice here. This design is based, very much inspired from the Ekranoplan, which is a plane. It was called the Caspic Monster, Sea Monster, something like that. If you search on YouTube, Ekranoplan, you will find this plane. It was, I think, Russian, and they wanted to use it for heavy lifting, like going really fast, just above the sea level. But it could carry a lot of weight, a lot of tanks. You could make a sudden invasion with, like a blitzkrieg, just flush into your enemies' beaches and just unload a shitload of arsenal with this plane. But it was incredibly difficult to hold it stable. It was very difficult to fly, and they gave up on the project. Besides the fact that it had a huge consumption, because those turbines, for instance, a plane uses a lot of fuel when it takes off, and when it gets to the ideal altitude where the air is more refined, is rarer, not refined, rarer. It is refined actually, and it flies without too much resistance on an idle state, not exactly idle, but a decent RPM to save consumption, to save some fuel. And Ekranoplan had to be full force all the time until it stops and hovers over the water. It can swim in it and then turns into a boat. That's all.
Why are scientists more puzzled than ever? Even after
And
building
just a side note, my mechanic told me about this plane 20 years ago when he was fixing my shitbox.
billion-dollar machines to study it. And is this
Trăiască
mystery
Dadu.
finally
1000 de ani,
pointing
trăiască
towards
Dadu.
something new? Something beyond
Sărac.
the physics we thought we had figured out?
Bun, deci reactorul ăsta e fucking annoying aici.
The mystery starts right at the beginning of the universe.
Să pun o...
When the Big Bang happened, it should have created matter and antimatter in equal amounts. That's not a guess. That's what our
I'm
best
sure there are
models
more
say.
parts, but I don't
For
have
every
them.
proton,
So
there should have
I
been
want to
an
use this ship
antiproton.
all the time.
For every electron, a positron. And when those
Bă, dar n-am o
meet,
aripă
they
mai...
annihilate
De
each
Doamne
other
ajută, astea
instantly.
pot pune aici.
All energy, no leftovers.
No.
But look around, you're
Da,
still
așa.
here. So am I. And there's no visible antimatter drifting around. Galaxies, stars, planets, all made of regular matter. That imbalance is weird, because it shouldn't exist. Yet somehow, in those early microseconds after the Big Bang, something
Poți să
tipped
renunți de
the
ce e aici?
scales. Just enough for a tiny
Why is it so
excess of matter
sensitive
to
inside? I
survive.
don't know why.
And that tiny excess,
E probabil făcut
that's
pentru
what
controller.
makes up
Da, da.
everything we see today. We're talking about a
Stai,
difference
ok.
of maybe one particle in a billion. That's how close it was, and the rest were all wiped out in mutual destruction. Now here's the thing, nobody knows why.
Acum că e mai sus, oare pot să pun torpile pe el? Cred că da.
A fancy way of saying, where did the antimatter go and why did matter win? It's one of the biggest open questions in physics, and it's not just theoretical. If we understood what caused that imbalance, we'd be a step closer.
I love weapons. Oh my god, I love weapons. I don't want to shoot them or kill anyone with them, but I just love them as they are really cool. I don't know how to explain.
Not just to smash particles for fun, but to study these tiny differences between matter and antimatter. Because maybe,
why are they red? Why is it red?
We can catch antimatter.
It's not connected. What the fuck?
Acting slightly differently
no,
than
it's not.
Mirror twin.
Fuck's sake.
We'll find the clue we've been missing. And this year, they finally saw something unusual. Again.
Why? I can't connect it. Why the fuck can I connect it? Holy shit.
Let's talk about something called CP violation, because that's where things start getting weird.
It's red now.
What the fuck? CP symmetry is
no, trebuie să fie ok, nu se poate.
Flip it into its antimatter and also reverse its spatial coordinates, like looking at it in a mirror and swapping it with its opposite. Physics should behave exactly the same. That's the rule. At least it was supposed
to. Nu vrea torpilele, mă.
But for decades, scientists have known that this rule isn't perfect.
Fuck.
Back in the 1960s, physicists saw tiny violations of this symmetry in particles called kaons, and later.
Well, if I can't, I can't. Okay.
Those are both types.
That's it. That's it. That's all.
Particles made of a quark and antiquark. And even though the violations were small, they were enough to suggest that matter and antimatter don't always behave as perfect opposites. Still, here's the issue. Those mesons decay too fast, and their CP violations aren't strong enough to explain the imbalance we see in the universe.
Nu pot mai față, nu pot. God damn it. Aici e conectorul, da.
Something that happens
makes sense.
in baryons. The same class of particles
makes sense.
that
But why doesn't the torpedo stick?
Building blocks of regular matter. And this year, it finally happened.
N-are să fie două, că dacă sunt rotative trag una în alta. N-are sens. Aici punem două mai mici.
Announced that it had observed CP violation in a particle called the lambda B baryon. That's a heavy particle made of 3 quarks, just like a proton, but with different types of quarks inside. And for the first time ever, physicists saw clear evidence that these baryons don't behave the same as their antimatter counterparts. That's
mai mici, mai împacat mai bine sub.
The symmetry they observed wasn't huge, only about 2.5%. But in particle physics, that's enough to ring alarm bells. And the statistical significance, 5.2 sigma.
Dracu, să fac spatele ăsta, mă.
That basically means the chances of this being a fluke
să pun două coze aici.
It's real. Now this doesn't mean we've solved the antimatter mystery, not yet. But it gives us a new direction. A new class of particles where the differences between matter and antimatter might be stronger. And if those differences scale up, even just slightly over time, they could explain why matter survived the early universe, while antimatter didn't. It's one of those moments in physics where the door doesn't swing wide open, but it does crack just enough for new light to come through. And suddenly people are paying attention again. Because if baryons like the lambda B behave differently from their antimatter twins, then maybe protons and antiprotons do too.
Este aripă pe mijloc, gen. Vreau o aripă care e pe mijloc, așa ca un fin. A fin. Bro, what is a fin?
But that's just one mystery. Because while the LHC is looking at high energy collisions, something even stranger is happening in another part of CERN, where scientists are trying to do the unthinkable. Put antimatter in a truck.
What? Antimatter in a truck? What the fuck? You wanna summon Truck-kun?
You probably don't think of antimatter as something you can just load onto a truck and drive across town. But that's exactly what CERN is working toward. For the first time in history, scientists successfully moved a cloud of protons, stand-ins for antiprotons, across the CERN campus using a specialized mobile trap. They built a high-tech box.
They're insane, bro. It's fucking insane.
Drove it about 4 kilometers
across
the facility, proving they could one day transport actual antimatter the same way. Why is that such a big deal? Because antimatter isn't just rare, It's absurdly difficult to handle. The moment antimatter touches regular matter, it
Explode.
annihilates.
Explosion!
Massive energy release. So you can't put it in a glass jar, you can't freeze it or shove it into a metal tank. It has to be suspended, levitated, really, inside magnetic fields, inside a vacuum, inside a carefully engineered trap. It's like trying to carry a drop of pure sunlight in your hand without getting burned. So why take that risk? The reason is precision. While CERN's antiproton decelerator is great for generating and studying antimatter, the facility is surrounded by large magnetic fields from nearby accelerators and instruments. And those fields can subtly interfere with the delicate measurements scientists
Da, unul așa slick on the side. Nu așa bulky, vreau unul super slick. Uite ăsta.
To a quieter, more controlled lab environment.
Ăsta e pretty good.
Specifically to a facility in Germany with better shielding and less magnetic noise.
Yeah, this is good.
That's what this
That is
mobile
good, yeah.
antimatter trap was for. And
Vedem
it
cum
worked.
ar sta
The device kept a cloud of protons,
cu...
stand-ins for antiprotons, stable and isolated for over 12 hours through the entire journey. The fact that they could keep these particles secure during actual transport opens a door to new types of experiments that
Cred că
were
e highly
previously
unstable.
impossible.
Sau? Nu, uite că
Soon
e crește.
scientists will be able to test how antimatter behaves in different environments, not just at CERN, but in other labs across Europe and eventually beyond.
Da, e too much.
And that changes everything. Because it's not just about studying antimatter where it's made anymore. It's about preparing to use it, send it, and push the boundaries of where we can
I need
take
something here. I don't know what.
We've gone from generating antimatter
Yet.
in fixed
I don't know what yet.
to proving we can
Să
transport
pun două
protons.
intrări să închid
Critical step toward making
să închid
antimatter
zona asta cu
portable.
o bucată mare de...
That
Dar
may
n-aș, nu
sound
am,
small,
pula mea, că n-am,
but in
uite că n-am,
experimental
uite.
physics, it's massive.
Nu pot să-l pun pe
It
el,
means new
să-l închid,
collaborations, new
să fac un fin.
technologies, and
Dar
far
dacă renunț
more
la intrarea de
precise
aici,
tests of one of the weirdest substances
fac
in
două
the
aici
universe.
iară.
And all of this is happening while another group of scientists is asking an even stranger question. What if antimatter doesn't fall the way regular matter does? What if gravity treats antimatter differently?
Să nu mai pun niciun exit, pun aici un exit fix lângă pilot, aici în față. Da, să fie exit aici.
Like one of those shower thoughts people post online. If antimatter is the opposite of matter, does it fall up? Except at CERN, that's not a joke. It's an actual experiment.
Păcat că nu poate să fie, știi, un fake door, gen, știi? Să arate numai a doua oră să nu fie. Dar nu-i stres, că este care foarte multă marfă, deci e justificat să aibă două intrări. Deci ăsta e Launching Bay, Ambassador și Titan Class. Da.
That last one's unlikely.
Asta e pe sub.
Nobody could say for sure until now. In 2023, two major
Asta mai e
experiments
din filmul
finally
avionului.
ran detailed tests to find out. One was called Alpha G, an extension of the earlier Alpha
G?
experiments. The other was
The fuck,
GBAR,
Pornhub.
short for gravitational behavior of antihydrogen at rest. These names sound technical, but what they were trying to do was incredibly basic. Make a small cloud of antihydrogen atoms, let them go, and see what happens. And for that to work, the atoms had to be neutral, no charge, because any electric field would mess up the results. The trick was to isolate pure antihydrogen and keep it suspended, perfectly still, inside a vacuum chamber, using magnets. Then, release it and watch what gravity does. Sounds simple, it's not. These atoms are insanely fragile. The conditions have to be perfect. And the fall distance, just a few centimeters. That's it. You're basically trying to detect the gravitational behavior of a ghost, but somehow they pulled it off. And here's what they found. Antihydrogen falls down, just like regular hydrogen. According to the Alpha G results from 2023, it accelerates under Earth's gravity in the same direction and at a rate consistent with matter, with an experimental precision.
Oh, it scared
is
me.
still working towards similar measurements,
I'm dead.
aiming to confirm these findings with even greater accuracy. Almost. Because the data also hinted at something strange. Just a hint that the acceleration might be slightly different.
Why?
Not
Can
enough
I
to
do
break
that?
the
What
laws
the
of
fuck?
physics, but enough to make people
Căcatele astea nu
squint
pot
at the
spune nimic,
numbers
mă.
and wonder if there's more going on. A few results from GBAR
Kidding me.
were also a little off, though still within margin of error. Nothing conclusive, nothing headline-breaking, but
Dracu, nu
not
pot să mă
perfectly
pasă, mă.
boring either. If antimatter does behave even slightly differently
I think
under
so,
gravity,
what the fuck?
it could crack open everything from quantum field theory to general relativity. Einstein's equivalence principle, the idea that
Astea-s
gravity
da,
is the
astea-s mai
same on
decente.
everything, regardless
Alea
of what
prea
it's made of,
fucking ieșit în
has
afară.
never been tested on
Nu
antimatter.
știu dacă o să pot să văd în față
until
unde
now.
dracu mă duc în third person
And
cu
while the
asta.
early results suggest antimatter plays by the same rules,
No, I need a Russian
physicists
plane,
aren't
it's
done
big and
testing.
it's Russian.
Because if they find even a 0.1% deviation,
See?
that would be enough to shake the foundations of physics. So, they're running more tests, refining
I don't know
their
why the
methods,
fuck they are fighting in
increasing
Ukraine with the
sensitivity.
Russians and Russians with
Because
the
in this kind
Ukrainians.
of
It's so
science,
fucking stupid.
It's not just the big
And people
discoveries
die that don't have any
matter,
beef with any
it's the
politics.
tiny differences
It's retarded.
that tell you
But
something
that's what
about
war
life.
is anyway, so that
When something's
evolved
broken
us
in
to
physics,
nowadays
that's when
technology.
things get interesting. But while all of this is happening, CERN's big colliders, gravity
Bun,
labs,
acum ai
and
altă
trap
discuție.
experiments, there's another antimatter mission gearing up to do something even bolder. They're not just dropping antimatter anymore. They're planning to send it to smash into unstable atoms on purpose.
Așa fucking bulky ăsta, man. Holy crap.
So where does all this antimatter actually come from? You don't just mine it, and you definitely don't find it lying around.
No, it's
At
fucking
CERN,
huge.
antimatter is made in one of the strangest and most advanced parts of the entire facility. Something most people have
Nu
never
nu
even
arăta rău
heard
ăla,
of.
ce drept.
It's called the antiproton decelerator, or AD for short. And it's exactly what
Nu
it
mă,
sounds
stai
like.
că este ăla...
A machine
Astea.
built to slow down particles that no one can touch. Here's how it works. First, high-energy protons are fired into a block of dense metal. The collision creates a shower of exotic particles, some of which are antiprotons. These are the antimatter version of protons, and they're born moving fast, too fast to study. So the
Da,
AD
pot să încap
steps
acum
in to
în
slow
stație,
them down.
liniștit.
Not just a little
Erau
idle.
prea la tare, pe aia nu
We're
puteam să fac
talking
nimic
about
cu el.
reducing their speed by a factor of 100,000 or more. Because you can't study antimatter when it's zooming around like a bullet. You need it calm, cold, almost still. That's where ELENA comes in. ELENA is a smaller circular accelerator that connects
Să mai
directly
prodăm și
to the
altele.
AD. But instead of speeding particles up, it takes them even slower. Think of it as a kind of cooling ring for antimatter.
Da, asta e
ELENA can
cel mai
slow
slick până acum.
antiprotons to just a few millionths of the speed of light, gentle enough to trap them using magnetic fields. And once they're slow enough, scientists can capture them in highly specialized experiments.
Da, asta e
There's
very good.
alpha, which traps anti-hydrogen and tests gravity.
Bun, ce mai este?
There's base, which compares the magnetic properties of protons and antiprotons
It's super
down
slick.
to
Nice.
insane levels of precision. And then there's
Ăla am
acid
pus mai
fusor,
înainte.
which studies the internal structure of anti-hydrogen using laser spectroscopy. Each of these experiments is looking for the tiniest differences between matter and antimatter.
Mamă, ce marfar ți-ai
Differences
făcut,
that might
frate.
explain why the universe is the way it is.
Uh,
If they find something, even something small, it could change the way we think about symmetry, time, or the Big Bang itself. But here's what makes this all so impressive.
Hai să
This
give it a
isn't
try
a
la asta.
giant collider smashing particles at nearly the speed of light. These are quiet, controlled, ultra-precise experiments. More like atomic surgery than demolition. And that contrast is what makes CERN so unusual. On one side, you've got detectors the size of buildings, where particles crash into each
Ai,
other
prea
at
mult.
unimaginable
Putting a hat on a hat e asta.
On the other, you've got tiny chambers
Da, e
cooled to near absolute
very Star
zero,
Wars-like.
designed to gently hold a few antimatter atoms like they're made of glass. This is the antimatter factory. Not just a single machine, but an entire ecosystem of experiments, each
Da,
with
apare
its
din filmul
own
ăsta.
niche, its own questions, and its own piece of the puzzle. And now, this whole system is about to do something even more ambitious. They're planning to take that carefully stored antimatter and fire it at some of the weirdest atoms in the universe, at unstable, radioactive nuclei. Because maybe the answers don't lie in smashing matter and antimatter together. Maybe they lie in how they interact. That's the goal of CERN's next big antimatter mission, PUMA. You've heard of particle accelerators, you've heard of antimatter traps, but now scientists at CERN are trying something that sounds almost too sci-fi to be real. They're going to take 1 billion antiprotons and bring them face to face with unstable atoms. Nuclei so rare and short-lived, you can't find them anywhere in nature. And they're going to do it in a place where antimatter has never gone before. It's called PUMA. The name stands for Antiproton Unstable Matter Annihilation, and it's one of the most ambitious antimatter experiments ever planned. Here's the idea. CERN has two main research areas. One is where the antiproton decelerator and ELINA are, where antimatter is produced and slowed. The other is a place called Isolde, where physicists study exotic atomic nuclei, the kind that decay in fractions of a second, created artificially from nuclear reactions. Normally, these two areas never interact. Antimatter stays on one side. Radioactive nuclei stay on the other. PUMA is going to change that. Scientists are building a mobile antimatter trap, something strong enough to hold over 1 billion antiprotons, stable and isolated, for hours. The trap will then be physically moved from the antimatter lab to Isolde, where those antiprotons will be unleashed, not recklessly, but in a controlled beam, onto unstable atomic nuclei. Why? Because when an antiproton hits the nucleus of an atom, it annihilates with one of the protons or neutrons. And the debris from that annihilation tells scientists something incredibly precise about the structure of the nucleus it collided with. In other words, antimatter becomes a kind of microscope, a probe. It lets us peek inside radioactive atoms that are normally impossible to measure. This hasn't been done before, not like this. The hope is that by looking at how antiprotons interact with these exotic atoms, scientists can learn more about the forces inside atomic nuclei, especially in the so-called neutron skins, where unstable atoms tend to have weird, lopsided shapes. It could even hint at new nuclear physics, maybe beyond what the standard model can currently explain. And the really strange part? This experiment involves moving antimatter between buildings by truck. That alone is a scientific feat. It's hard enough keeping antiprotons from touching anything in a static lab, let alone keeping them stable through transportation, temperature changes, and mechanical vibrations. But if PUMA works, it could change how antimatter research is done. It won't be locked to a single lab anymore. It could go where it's needed, brought to new experiments, new materials, and maybe even new countries. Antimatter might become mobile. And that opens the door to whole new types of research that haven't even been imagined yet. But despite all this momentum, CP violation in baryons, gravity experiments, precision spectroscopy, and now mobile antimatter, there's still a lingering problem. Nothing so far has fully explained the big mysteries. Why is there more matter than antimatter in the universe? The data keeps improving. The tools keep evolving. But the answers, they still aren't lining up. You'd think with everything happening at CERN, the CP violation discoveries, the precision experiments, the antimatter drops, the billion-dollar detectors, by now we'd have found something big, something that clearly shows where the standard model breaks down, something that finally answers the antimatter question. But that's the frustrating part. All this work and the laws of physics still mostly hold. The experiments are impressive. The measurements are historic. But when you zoom out, they're all pointing to the same
Ruined my design.
Nothing we've seen
Hello
yet
Games.
is enough to explain why the universe favors matter. That CP violation in baryons.
Game is ruined now.
It's real. It's exciting. But the numbers still don't add up.
Wait a minute.
Asymmetry is too small to account for the sheer scale of imbalance in the early universe. The gravity test with anti-hydrogen. So far, antimatter falls down
That
like
is good,
regular
yeah.
matter. No wild surprises, no weird repulsion. At least not yet. The base and Asakusa experiments. They're checking for the tiniest possible violations of CPT symmetry. The idea that flipping charge, parity, and time together should make no difference. But those tests have been so precise that any deviation would have already made headlines. And they haven't. It's like we're chasing a ghost. We know it's there, something must have tipped the universe toward matter. But every time we think we're closing in, the data just says, not quite. To be clear, this doesn't mean the experiments are failures. Far from it. Every result, even a nothing unusual, sharpens our understanding. It rules out wrong paths. It tells theorists where not to look. It closes doors so we can focus on the ones that are still ajar. But scientists are stumped, and they're not hiding that. In some ways, that honesty is what makes this more compelling. CERN isn't pretending to have all the answers. They're admitting that the universe is still hiding something. Something deep, something subtle. Maybe it's a new particle we haven't seen yet. Maybe it's a force we don't understand. Or maybe it's a breakdown of symmetry so small, it's like trying to hear a whisper in the middle of a thunderstorm. And that's the reality of modern physics. You can build the most powerful machines, run the cleanest experiments, trap the rarest particles, and still walk away with more questions than answers. It's not a failure. It's a clue. Because when the rules stop working at the edges, that's where discovery begins. So, for now, the antimatter mystery remains just that, a mystery. We've ruled out a lot of wrong answers, we've narrowed down the possibilities, but that final piece of the puzzle is still missing. And yet, it's that very uncertainty that keeps the scientists going. Because in physics, confusion isn't the end of the story, it's where things start to get interesting. The deeper we go into antimatter, the more the questions multiply. We've moved beyond theory. We've isolated antiprotons, trapped antihydrogen, watched it fall, and even packed protons, a stand-in for antimatter, into a high-tech trap and drove it down the road. And yet, the core mystery of why the universe is full of matter and not antimatter still stands, untouched. Why does matter exist? It's not for lack of effort. CERN's built some of the most advanced tools humanity has ever made just to get closer to that answer.
Super.
And they're
Sunt
not
fucking
done.
insane ăștia, bro.
LHCb
De la
is still
cer.
running.
Am un prieten ce ne face să lucră acolo ca matematician să
are still feeding experiments. New missions like
mi-a
PUMA
povestit
are
așa
just
mare,
getting
nu
started.
știe 100%
But
sau
none of
nu,
this
nu să
is
zic o
about
chestie care
proving a
totuși e
theory.
super high-tech
It's
stuff.
about listening closely to
Dar
what
din
the
câte mi-a
universe
zis,
is
n-am înțeles
quietly
nimic și
trying to
aia,
say.
it's pretty much it,
Because
vorbește.
somewhere,
Dacă
hidden in
nici eu
all
după
these
100.000 de
results,
documentare
is a
și
hint of something bigger. Something we've
curiozitate maximă
Right
pentru
now,
domeniul ăsta, nu
scientists
înțeleg.
aren't
Pe unul
claiming
care nu în viața lui de
They're doing something
quantum
They're
states.
admitting the mystery
Nu știu
isn't
ce să zic.
solved. And in a field built on answers, that kind of honesty means one thing. They're getting
Ferma
close.
grile.
Because every time a result comes back almost, but not quite,
E
it
liber
pushes
aici,
us
nu
a
trebuie o
little
aripă foarte
further
subțire,
out
dar
of
nu,
what
în
we
afară
thought
de
we knew.
asta
And that's
și
where
de
discovery actually begins.
tomberonul ăsta nu este nimic.
So if antimatter keeps
Probabil o să
breaking
am
the
loc mai
rules,
târziu mai
good.
multe.
That means the rules are ready to change.
Care l-am luat, mă, de era așa mic? Dar nu am ea.
You can never see anything enter a black hole. Imagine you trap your nemesis in a rocket ship and blast him off towards a black hole. He looks back at you, shaking his fist at a constant rate. As he zooms in, gravity gets stronger, so you'd expect him to speed up. But that is not what you see. Instead, the rocket ship appears to be slowing down. Not only that, he also appears to be shaking his fist slower and slower. That's because, from your perspective, his time is slowing down. At the very instant when he should cross the event horizon, the point beyond which not even light can escape, he and his rocket ship do not disappear. Instead, they seem to stop, frozen in time.
Yeah, because by the time he gets inside the black hole, you're already, you and your entire nation
fades from
gone.
view. This is how any object would look, crossing the
Your
event
era
horizon.
is gone by the time you
Light
enter
is
this.
still coming from the point where he crossed.
But it's funny because
just
if you look
too
at black
redshifted
holes
to
that
see.
eat up planets and shit like that, or
But
maybe
if
it's
you
just
could
computer
see that light,
generated,
then
but
in theory you
I would
see
assume it
everything
that
has ever fallen
this
into the black hole,
rotating disk of
frozen on its
energy around
horizon,
black holes, they do
including
spin
the
all
star that formed
very
it.
fast.
But in
So
practice, photons
letting
are
out
emitted
all
at
the
discrete intervals,
instead,
so
no,
there
no, no.
will
There is
be
plenty
a
of time
last
to let
photon
out the
emitted
light.
outside the
It's
horizon, and therefore
Besides
these images will
the
fade
spinning
after some
gas
time.
around the black hole,
This is just
around
one of
big
the
black
strange
holes
results
aren't
that comes out of the
affected by
general theory of relativity, our current
the
best theory
time
of gravity.
dilatation.
The first
They're two
solution
ways
of Einstein's
to
equations
outside the
predicted
ring
not only
to
black
matter
holes,
that much.
but also their
But they do
opposite,
go at
white
90%
holes.
of the speed
It
of
also
light, which is
implied the
fucking nuts.
existence of parallel universes and even possibly a way to travel between them. This is a video about the real science
Oh,
of
very
black
dark, so-
holes, white holes, and wormholes.
The general theory of
Oh,
relativity arose at least in part due to a fundamental
my
flaw
shit,
in
sorry,
Newtonian
Draco.
gravity. In the 1600s, Isaac Newton contemplated how an
Full
apple
of
falls
stuff.
to the ground, how the moon orbits the Earth and Earth orbits the sun, and he concluded that every object with mass must attract every other. But Newton was
Oh.
troubled by his own theory. How could masses separated by such vast distances apply a force on each other? He wrote that one body may act upon
my
another
niche.
at a distance through a vacuum without the mediation of anything else is to me so great an absurdity that I believe no man who has a competent faculty of thinking could ever fall into it. One man who definitely had a competent faculty of thinking was Albert Einstein, and over 200 years later, he figured out how gravity is mediated. Bodies do not exert forces on each other directly. Instead, a mass like the sun curves the space-time in its immediate vicinity. This then curves the space-time around it, and so on all the way to the Earth.
Astăzi, gata.
So the Earth orbits the sun because the space-time Earth is passing through
just a
is
couple.
curved.
Masses are affected by the local curvature of spacetime, so no action at a distance is required. Mathematically, this is described by Einstein's field equations. Can you write down the Einstein field equation?
This was the result of Einstein's decade of hard work after special relativity. And essentially what we've got
No,
in the
asta
field
e cel mai
equation,
coerente cu
on one side it says, tell me
Spatele.
about the distribution of matter and energy. The other side tells you what the resultant curvature of space-time is from that distribution of matter and energy. And it's a single line.
Păcat că nu are
It looks
cozi din
like,
astea
this is a
wings.
simple
Fins,
equation,
adică,
right?
pardon.
But it's not really one equation,
făcut
it's a
un-
family of
un,
equations.
ăsta acolo, un
And
supun,
to make life more
pe fiecare
difficult,
parte.
they are coupled equations, so they depend upon each other.
Dar nu am.
And they are differential equations, so it means
Asta e tot.
there
Și
are
aici ai
integrals
la
that have to be
decorațiune
done
plus.
by
Astea ar fi
So there's
fost
a whole bunch of
Streamline
steps that
Dream,
you
da,
need to
nu.
do to solve the field equations.
Dream
To
Cap, da,
see
nu.
what a
nu e.
solution to these equations would look like, we need a tool to understand spacetime.
Prea big, zic eu.
So imagine you're floating around in empty
Atunci de ce
space.
nu-ți faci jocul
A
ăsta?
flash of light goes off above your head and spreads out in all directions.
Era
Now,
să spun
your
de ce, dar nu mai
entire
zic nimic.
future, anything that can and will ever happen
Pussy
to you,
whip, da.
will occur within this bubble, because the only way to get out of it would be to travel faster than light. In 2 dimensions, this bubble is just a growing circle. If we allow time to run up the screen and take snapshots at regular intervals, then this light bubble traces out a cone, your future light cone. By convention, the axes are scaled so that light rays always travel at 45 degrees. This cone reveals the only region of spacetime that you can ever hope to explore and influence. Now imagine that instead of a flash of light above your head, those photons were actually traveling in from all corners of the universe, and they met at that instant and then continued traveling on in their separate directions. Well, in that case, then into the past, these photons also reveal a light cone, your past light cone. Only events that happened inside this cone could have affected you up to the present moment. We can simplify this diagram even further by plotting just one spatial and one time dimension. This is the space-time diagram of empty space. If you want to measure how far apart 2 events are in space-time, you use something called the space-time interval. The interval squared is equal to minus dt squared plus dx squared. Since space-time is flat, the geometry is the same everywhere, and so this formula holds throughout the entire diagram,
Asta makes sense
which makes
cel
it
mai mult.
really easy to measure the separation between any two
Dar nu-mi
events.
place că e prea bulky, dacă
But
nu mai
around a mass, space-time is curved,
know.
and therefore you need to modify the equation to take into account the geometry.
Engines.
This is what solutions to
fucking stupid,
Einstein's
no.
equations are like.
Purifier.
They tell you how space-time curves and how to
Purify
measure the
the
separation
rocket
between
boost.
two events in that curved geometry.
Da, ce pula mea face asta cu
Einstein
mâncarea, mă? Și-a
published his
băgat un corp.
equations in 1915 during the First World War.
Că
But
mânca
he
de la,
couldn't
de
find
la
an exact solution.
cuibul
Luckily,
cocorilor,
a
știi că e
copy of
bună
his
mâncarea
paper
acolo
made
de
its way to
obicei
the
și s-a
Eastern
întâmplat
Front,
asta.
where Germany was fighting
Am
Russia.
comandat, nu, fii
Stationed
atent, am
there was one of the
comandat
best
ăsta,
astrophysicists
cum
of
îi
the
zice,
time, Carl Schwarzschild.
giroși de pui.
Despite being 41 years old,
Giroși de
he
pui,
had
mă.
volunteered
Din
to
astea
calculate
grecesc, dracu
artillery
știe.
trajectories for the German army.
Ce mi-au dus
At
două
least
cupe de
until a
pireu
greater
și
challenge
niște
caught his attention.
carne
How to
friptă
solve
în tigaie
Einstein's
cu
field equations.
whatever the fuck. Adică chiar așa poți să-i ca și cum îmi
Schwarzschild
comanzi
did
la
the
mine
standard
un
physicist thing and
Renault
imagined
Master
the
și vin
simplest
cu
possible scenario, an eternal
nu știu,
static
un Logan
universe
din
with
2005
nothing in it
ruginit.
except
Adică
a
tu ești
single
prost, nu
spherically
are nicio
symmetrical
treabă cu
point
ce ți-am
mass.
comandat.
This
Girosul
mass
de pui
was
nu ai cu
electrically
pireu în
neutral
primul rând.
and not
The
rotating.
fuck is wrong with you?
Since
Stupid
this
fuck.
was the only feature
No,
of
nu
his
mai ținea mai
universe,
zi
he
nimic,
measured
da,
everything
pula
using
mea, mai
spherical
comandă în viața
coordinates
mea de-
relative to the
Și
center
asta a
of
făcut
his
și
mass.
Platinum.
So
Că
r is the
băgam și
radius
de la el
and
la greu,
theta
dar
and
pula
phi
mea
give
mai
the
scuze.
angles.
Mi-a dat o
For
ciorbă
his
boss
time
cu apă
coordinate, he chose time
și
as being
rece
measured by
și
someone
erau
far
trei
away from
frunze în
the
ea
mass,
și
where
o carne
space-time
moartă.
is essentially
Te
flat.
pula mea de prost.
Using this approach, Schwarzschild found the first non-trivial solution to Einstein's equations, which nowadays we write like this. This Schwarzschild metric describes how space-time curves outside of the mass. It's pretty simple and makes intuitive sense. Far away from the mass, space-time is nearly flat, but as you get closer and closer to it, space-time becomes more and more curved, it attracts objects in, and time runs slower. Schwarzschild sent his solution to Einstein, concluding with, "The war treated me kindly enough, in spite of the heavy gunfire, to allow me to get away from it all and take this walk in the land of your ideas." Einstein replied, "I have read your paper with the utmost interest. I had not expected that one
Fine,
could
vorbeau
formulate the
atunci cu
exact
scrisori.
solution to the problem in such a simple way." But what seemed at first quite simple soon became more complicated. Shortly after Schwarzschild's solution was
Asta e
published,
fucking huge.
people noticed two problem spots. At the center of the mass, at r equals 0, this term is
mai era ăla așa
divided by
plată ăsta.
0, so it blows up
Asta
to
da, am mai
infinity.
pus o dată.
And therefore, this equation breaks down and it
This
can
is it.
no longer describe what's physically happening. This is what's called a singularity. Maybe that point could be excused because it's in the middle of the mass, but there's another problem spot outside of it. At a special distance from the center, known as the Schwarzschild radius, this term blows up. So there is a second
No
singularity.
fucking way. De fapt nu-mi
What
trebuie.
is going on here?
Trebuie că l-am asta.
Well, at the Schwarzschild
Definitely
radius, the space-time curvature becomes so steep
două, what
that
the
the escape velocity, the speed that anything would need to leave there, is the speed of light. And that would mean that inside the Schwarzschild radius, nothing, not even light, would be able to escape. So you'd have this dark object that swallows up matter and light, a black hole, if you will.
But most scientists doubted that such an object could
Ăla cu două
exist
ăsta.
because it would require a lot of mass to collapse down into a
Ush.
tiny space.
How could that possibly ever happen? Astronomers at the time were studying what happens at the end of a star's life. During its lifetime, the inward force of gravity is balanced by the outward radiation pressure created by the energy released through nuclear fusion. But when the fuel runs out, the radiation pressure drops, so gravity
Bă, ce
pulls
fucking
all the
huge e
star
și ăsta,
material
uite.
inwards.
Jesus, dar
But
fă-le mai
how
mici,
far?
man.
Most
Why can't I
astronomers
resize
believed
them?
some physical process
Ar
would
fi
pull it up.
fucking weird să le pus resize.
And in 1926, Ralph Fowler
Okay.
came up with a possible mechanism. Pauli's exclusion
Pula asta.
principle states that fermions, like electrons,
You're scared.
cannot occupy the same state. So as matter gets pushed
Da,
closer and
schive,
closer
să de
together,
ușor. Schive.
the electrons each occupy their own tiny volumes.
Schive.
But Heisenberg's uncertainty principle
știu,
says
dream
that
sau
you
ceva de genul,
can't
japoneză.
know the position and momentum of a particle with
Schive.
absolute certainty.
Hentai.
So as the particles become more and more constrained in space,
Dai, dăm un pic de
the
aerodinamică la
uncertainty
ăsta,
in their
la globul
momentum
ăsta.
and hence their
Dar ce e asta?
velocity must go up.
A fucking...
So the more a
Cum e
star is
cealaltă?
compressed, the faster electrons will wiggle around, and that creates
shield.
an outward pressure.
nu-mi
This
place
electron
să cum
degeneracy
arăți,
pressure
de dracu,
would
deci.
prevent the star from collapsing completely. Instead, it would form a white dwarf with a density much higher than a normal star. And remarkably enough, astronomers had observed stars that fit this description. One of them was Sirius B. But the relief from this discovery
Da,
was
șmecheră să mă
short-lived.
săvârtești.
4 years later, 19-year-old Subramanian Chandrasekhar traveled by
foarte,
boat to England
exposed.
to study with Fowler and Arthur Eddington, one of the most revered scientists of the time. During his voyage,
Bun.
Chandrasekhar realized that electron degeneracy pressure has its limits. Electrons can wiggle faster and faster, but only up to the speed of light. That means this effect can only support stars up to a certain mass, the Chandrasekhar limit. Beyond this, Chandrasekhar believed not even electron degeneracy pressure could prevent a star from collapsing. But Eddington was not impressed. He publicly
apaș.
blasted Chandrasekhar, saying, "There should be a law of nature to prevent a star from behaving in this absurd way."
And indeed, scientists did discover a way that stars heavier than the Chandrasekhar limit could support
better.
themselves.
When a star collapses beyond a white
Doamne,
dwarf,
Doamne ajută.
electrons and protons fuse together to form neutrinos and neutrons. These neutrons are also fermions, but with nearly 2,000 times the mass of an electron,
Bă, dar
their
ce se aude,
degeneracy
mă?
pressure is even stronger. So
Ai
this
auzit?
is what holds up neutron stars.
There was this conviction among scientists that even if
Nu,
we didn't
moară
know the
pe ăsta, ce se
mechanism,
întâmplă, mă?
something would prevent a star from collapsing into
Da,
a
sună
single
poliția, mă,
point and
piși pe el,
forming a
lasă
black
moară
hole.
la mine în bloc. Nu ești nebun la cap.
Because black holes were just
Ce
too
dacă mă pupă în pulă,
preposterous
mă
to be
piși pe
real.
el.
The big
Da,
blow to this belief
omul a fost.
came in the late 1930s when J. Robert Oppenheimer and George Volkoff
Da, cred și eu că
found
e câine,
that
așa e?
neutron stars also have a maximum mass.
Cred că
Shortly
cred că
after,
nu lasă
Oppenheimer
pe
and
balcon.
Hartland
Cred că aia e
Snyder
problema.
showed
Se
that
aude
for the
înfundat.
heaviest stars, there is nothing left
Nu,
to
mai
save
câine,
them
câine,
when their
câine.
fuel runs out. They wrote, "This contraction will continue indefinitely." But Einstein still couldn't believe it. Oppenheimer was saying that stars can collapse indefinitely,
Da, mă,
but
aici
when
pot,
Einstein
gata.
looked at
Era
the
prea
map,
departe de
he
navă,
found
mă.
that time freezes on the horizon, so it seemed like nothing could ever enter, which suggested that either there's something we don't understand, or that black holes can't exist.
De torpile, mă, oricum îi dă drumul, nu le lansează de pe rack.
Oppenheimer offered a solution to the
Le
problem.
poți pune și una
He
după alta.
said to an outside observer, you could never see anything go in. But if you were traveling across the event horizon, you wouldn't notice anything unusual and you'd go right past it without even knowing it. So, how is this possible?
We
I don't
need
know.
a space-time diagram of a black hole. On the left is the singularity at r equals 0. The dotted line at r equals 2m is the event horizon. Since the black hole doesn't move, these lines
Ah,
go
fuck, I
straight
need a
up in
staircase.
time.
Oh my god, stai să
Now
mă duc
let's
să-mi
see
iau
how
staircase.
ingoing and outgoing light rays travel in
Dar
this
curios
curved
dacă se dă de
geometry.
tăți pereții și ăsta.
When you're really
Dacă nu e
far
prea
away,
fucking
the
heavy,
future light cones are at the usual 45
Sau, nu, că nu e
degrees.
așa lat, că am avut
But as you
lățime
get
mult mai mare,
closer
nu
to
puteam
the
să land pe
horizon, the
niciunde
light
aproape.
cones get narrower and narrower until right at the event horizon,
Păi mare,
they're
mă, ce
so
credeai că e?
narrow that they point straight up.
Ceva tomberon.
And inside the horizon, the light cones tip
no.
to the left. But something strange happens
Yeah,
with
no
ingoing
shit,
light
I can't
rays.
get in the cockpit.
They fall in, but they don't get to r equals 2m. They actually
Deci aici
asymptote
îi...
to that value as time goes to infinity.
Aici e botul, aici e
But they
cabina
don't end
și aici
at
trebuie să
infinity,
fie scara,
right?
da.
Mathematically, they are connected and come back in,
There it is.
and they're traveling in this direction. And this bothered a lot of people. This bothered people like Einstein because he looked at these
Poți spune,
equations and
Mihai.
went, well, if nothing can cross this
Ah, da,
sort
pot.
of boundary,
Mission.
then how could there be black
Net
holes?
pot.
How could black holes even form?
So, what is going on here? Well, what's important to recognize is that this diagram is a projection. It's basically a 2D map of four-dimensional curved spacetime.
It's just like projecting the 3D Earth onto a 2D map. When you do that, you always get distortions. There is no perfectly accurate way to map
What's
the
got
Earth
this, huh?
onto a 2D surface. But different maps can be useful for different purposes. For example, if you want to keep angles and shapes the same, Like if you're sailing across the ocean and you need to find your bearings, you can
Da, să
use the
mâncăm, știi, când
repeater
zburăm, să
projection.
nu stăm așa de
That's the one
mâncat.
Google Maps uses.
Până cobor, n-am chef.
The downside is that it misrepresents sizes. Africa and Greenland look about the same size, but Africa is actually around 14 times larger.
Da, nimic.
The Gall-Peters projection keeps relative sizes accurate, but as a result, angles and shapes are distorted.
In a similar way, we can make different projections of 4D spacetime to study different properties of it. Physical reality doesn't change, but the way the map describes it does.
He had chosen
Da, e altceva
to
când
put a
mergi pe
typical
lângă el.
coordinate system
E
on
ca
the
și
space
când te uiți pe
and
ecranul
have a
ăsta sau
time
intri pe
code.
VR.
And off you go. It's the most sensible thing to do, right?
People realize that if you choose
Da,
a
arată
different
mult mai bine
coordinate
asta.
system by doing a coordinate substitution,
Ăla au fost
then
prea
the
de
singularity
tot. Și am
at the
văzut
event
câteva
horizon
design-uri pe YouTube, m-am pișat mai
disappears.
drept.
It goes
Da,
away.
cred că am văzut
That
ăsta
problem
cu
goes away.
Veritasium.
And things can actually cross into the black.
Asta mă vrei să ne uităm la Killer Duo thinks they got away until cops discovered their murder house. Red 3 interrogations. E Stellar Blade? Păi acolo e, nu știu, a mea solution gone wrong, these illusions fool almost everyone, I don't care, I get easily fooled. Oh, hai să ne uităm la niște crime.
Well, that's not made up. You tell me. It's under your house.
Casey, we have good reason to believe that Carl's dead, and that you had a hand in burying him under your apartment.
Okay.
Meet 29-year-old Casey Bach, one of the two individuals behind the mysterious disappearance of Carl Beeman Jr. and as detectives question her partner in crime, Leroy Crawford.
What happened to KJ, that's not a one-person job. There's other people.
They will turn on each other as they
They always turn on
realize
each
their
other.
evil murder plot has gone up in flames.
Piece of shit.
It's not my fault. The man told me he'd hurt me if I didn't help him.
We've talked to a lot of people and also have knowledge about it, and I can tell you.
Dracu să oprește asta.
That right now all fingers are pointing. I don't know.
On April 1st, 2023, law enforcement in Aurora, Colorado received the lead of a lifetime. In a frantic state, 29-year-old Casey Bach had confessed to her neighbor about a heinous crime. According to Casey, her boyfriend Leroy Crawford had murdered his friend of 2 decades, Carl Beeman Jr., and the two had buried him in the crawl
Merge
space
cu
of
asta,
Casey's
înțelege, mă
condo to
enervează.
cover up the
I
crime.
don't like clipping at all.
The story seemed insane at first.
I should be a game
When police
developer
were
then, huh?
informed that no one had seen Carl in close to a year.
100% m-aș juca cel puțin 100 de ore produsul meu
Casey
înainte
had
să
warrants out for
joc.
traffic citations, so police were able to bring her in on those
Din respect,
charges.
din respect pentru
Leroy?
prietenii mei
Well,
gameri.
he was already behind bars on an unrelated
When you
charge.
have gamer friends that are
Getting them to
dedicated, you
questioning
really
was a
want to
breeze,
finish your product.
But getting the truth,
But if you're a stupid
that's a
activist,
different
fucking
story.
shit,
the following
blue hair,
footage was
garbage,
provided to us
then,
via FOIA request by the
doesn't
Aurora
fucking
Police
matter.
Department in Colorado.
I understand that this probably is a little shocking, you know, with everything going on. I'm sure you can expect it.
deschid geamul.
Because,
Mai,
okay, and we're going to
mai
explain
stau
it
în
to you,
climă
all right,
până
but we are going to have some questions for you,
nebunez dacă
okay?
mai stau în climă.
Do you understand that you have a warrant for your arrest? It's like a little traffic warrant. Okay. I just want to make sure that you understand.
Ce răcoare afară, frate, cum să mă duc pe climă?
We do record all our interviews, so obviously, you know, some cameras and stuff. I mean, we all have cameras.
Sayonara.
You understand that as well. Because we do have you here, and we're going to ask you questions about a crime that might have occurred, I do
A
have to
huge
read you
difference
rights
how
before I
game,
talk to
how
you,
this
okay?
game plays.
Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that
Huge
you're under
difference.
arrest. It just
Faci tu nava cu mai chef și tot.
because we've, you know, they put handcuffs on you, they brought you over here to headquarters. We have to go through that formality, okay? Have you ever been through that before? Okay.
What's
So we have
of
a
the
form,
moon?
All right, and I just read directly from the form. That way, there's no issues with what we're talking about.
The detective reads Casey her Miranda rights, and it seems that at this point, she finally starts to realize that the police couldn't care less about her unpaid traffic citations.
With these rights in mind, do you wish to talk to us now? Well, I mean, it's your choice, so you can say whatever you would like.
So far,
Okay. Can I check yes? And keep in mind, that goes into my.
Yeah,
to
you
my next
never
point
trust the
here.
police
All
in
right,
this
it says
case.
you can decide at
Just
any
don't
time
trust
to
them.
exercise these rights and not answer any questions or mistake. Okay. All right, can I have you sign right here and put the date? It's April 4th, 2023. Thank you. And I'm going to sign for you, okay? All right, Casey. Like I said, we can explain to you everything we have going on, okay? I would ask you, I'd kind of like to open it up to you. Do you think that there might be a reason that you would have some detectives talking to you like this, asking you questions? No? Is there nothing you can think of at all?
I know that my children's father got arrested by Aramco County and being charged with charges that he did not commit. And I know that I live next door to National Security, and they have been drilling holes in my walls and spying on me. And I know that Aurora is not the kindliest for police brutality, making up stuff. I've been dealing with this for about a year. I'm a Colorado citizen, born and raised here. This is my first time ever in Aurora, and it has ruined my life.
The NSA stalking her and her neighbor drilling holes in her walls
I
to
need a
spy
game
on
like
her
this.
is surprisingly
But with
not the
drugs.
most delusional thing you're going to hear Casey say today.
Most females don't like me because I'm prettier than them. So,
In Casey's mind, the police, the NSA, her neighbor, and jealous women have been trying to ruin her life. In reality, she's doing a pretty good job ruining it all by herself.
Yeah.
At the time of this
Stupid bitch.
interrogation, she was unemployed with several children, struggling with addiction, and pining after a man behind bars who, according to her, was set up and framed by the police department. But the police would have had to have been working overtime to frame Leroy for the sheer amount of crimes he's been charged with. The charges Casey is currently referring to are attempted murder charges from an incident in March of 2022, when Leroy allegedly got caught stealing a catalytic converter. When the owner of the car
Oh my
confronted
god,
him,
is that kind
Leroy
of guy,
fired
huh?
shots at the
Catalytic
man's
Corvette.
head. Fortunately, he's about as good
Cum
of
ai
a
fost
shot
un
as he is a
retardat ce
thief,
fura
so
haine
the man
murdare,
survived
mă, la
with
Londra,
no
man.
injuries.
Oh my god,
On
bro.
top of that, at the
Dirty
time of that
fucking
incident,
clothing
Leroy
now.
was already
That's
on
your
probation
target.
for a Grand Theft Auto charge, which Casey had bailed him out on.
What the fuck?
If
What are,
Casey
what are your
actually
standards,
thinks
bro?
Leroy
What?
is an innocent man being set up,
What
then
lowest
it's
of
not
them
just
all is
people
this?
in her walls that she's
Căcat
delusional
cu-
about.
Well, I'll just start by laying it out like this. We are part of the major crime section, okay? We handle a whole...
Genul de persoană că să-mi
whole
ascund
gamut of
chiloții murdari de el, că mi-i
crimes
fură.
committed missing
Holy
persons.
shit, îți dai seama să ai așa oameni în jurul tău.
There's been some
Gunoaie,
information that
efectiv
we've
gunoaie.
received, and
The
we
latest,
have
the-
a search warrant for your apartment.
The worst.
We have a search warrant for your kind of part of your
Da,
building
m-am
as
abținut,
well.
m-am abținut.
Yeah,
Era să
I'll
zic
kind of
ceva.
start by asking, who do you normally leave your kids with, or who you do? You don't have anybody. Okay, is there somebody that you've left your kids with in the past? Okay, who is that?
my mother,
Your mom. What about anybody locally or any friends of your
I
kids?
don't have anyone locally. I don't, my friends, my children don't have any friends here. I don't have any friends here. I keep to myself.
Yeah, no friends,
So
I just
there's
kill
nobody that
somebody.
your kids stay with every once in a while. or
Stupid bitch.
anything like that. Okay. Is there any reason somebody would tell us something like that?
I got a job a few months back. My daughter did have a friend at school, and I knew that she lived in the same apartment complex. So I walked up to this lady and asked if she could help me because I needed a babysitter. We became friends, and somebody broke her window, I'm guessing, here a few days ago, and she fixed it to me.
Okay. Why would she think you?
Because I just told her a few days prior, as I seen all these undercovers around.
Zice, n-ai răbdare?
She was-
Da, instalează jocul, pula mea, lasă-mă în pace.
You told this person. Okay.
I told her
What's
to
her
Bă, e
name?
20 de euro, pula mea, ai dat
What's her name?
1000 de euro pe gacha.
Okay. So why did you tell Sarah to stay with you?
Îmi duc aminte, boss, că nu te mai joci nici tu. Că
And
toate
what
fac
was
up.
that?
It's not as simple as.
Îmi place prea dolofan, așa, trebuie să fie mai mult unghi. We need more angles.
What do you mean by that? She wasn't in the back of the car?
I see her in the back of the car.
Okay.
And this day there was a bunch of undercovers around outside. Something. Like I've been going through a lot for a year.
Asta
Like
prea,
I
prea
said,
mare.
I'm not naive to what's around me, and I'm not
Cred că
naive
astea
to the world trying to set people up either.
Astăzi.
I'm just trying to keep my children.
Oricât caut astăzi.
And I
Da,
understand
astea.
that might be difficult.
Astea șmechere.
The father of your children, who is that? You said he's currently arrested. Can you tell me who that
Hai
is?
să faci palea încă o dată și stai pe dată.
Okay. And how long has he been in custody?
Almost a year now.
Yeah, I imagine that's very hard. You know, we're not trying to make light of the situation. We're not trying to insult you. We're just trying to get some background, okay? And I'm just trying to have a conversation with you so I can get an understanding about you, okay? And I promise I'm going to get to the point here, all right? But I'm just trying to get some background information on you, and that way we can have a good conversation about this, all right?
Some background about me. Would you like
Well,
to know the background?
because I've never met you before. That's why. And to have a conversation with you, I have to ask.
Da, e badass asta, I really like it.
Okay, so let's kind of back up to what's
Get the
happened
fuck inside it.
with you and Sierra over the past, I don't know.
Bă, de la
4 weeks
McDonald's
or
mă bag pula în el. De la Mega
Was
am
there
luat,
any
nu știu ce
specific,
dracu.
other than you saw these undercovers, was there any
Două-
specific incident that
2
made
degrees
you
warmer
feel
than
like
today.
that, or
No,
was it
azi nu a
just
fost așa de
her
grav.
being in the back of the car?
It's just how lying about me.
And that upset you because you got the police around you?
No, there were police around me. There was undercovers all over, and
No clipping.
I didn't understand. And she lied to me about not being in the back of her vehicle when I, clear as day, was right behind her and seen it.
And why did that worry you?
Because I didn't like being lied to, for one.
I mean, anything else? Did you think she was like working with the police, or did you think?
I mean, kind of. The only reason the girl puts stuff in the back of her car is to move car seats. So all four.
Cred că am lane assist și din alea în pula mea, dacă am pe mașină, am pe dita mai Corvette-ul.
Sierra,
Spaceship.
Casey's neighbor, was in fact working with
Stai
the
pe
police,
autopilot în
but
continuu.
not until
Are de
after
fapt, cred că
Casey
e
had accused her of
condiționat.
doing so. After Casey confessed her crimes to Sierra, Sierra contacted KG's mother, who then contacted the police, and the two spoke with the Aurora Police Department at length.
As I mentioned before, we have a search warrant for your apartment. Okay. Do you have any idea why we might have a
Hai să
search
văd
warrant?
cât de ușor pot să land.
Do you think there's anything that we may find in the apartment? Anything that would be very alarming or suspicious? We're not worried.
I have 2 guns that I legally own.
Yeah, we're not worried about that. Okay. If you're lawfully allowed to possess a firearm, then that's not. Okay. Well, they seem to be doing just fine. Okay. I don't think you have to worry about that. And I don't see any issue with you guys getting back to me. Okay. You don't need to worry about some of these things. So, our concern is that it sounds like you may have made some statements about somebody who married you. Okay. I'm going to cut the chase, okay?
Am ajuns prea repede, nu am apucat să durau jocul.
That's why we have the search warrant for the apartment. We also understand that the circumstances seem a little bit odd, which is why we're trying to be very. SWAT team didn't just blow the house open or anything like that. You know, we understand that it's kind of an odd situation, so that's why we're kind of, going out of the way with the law.
There's statements of what now? That I've buried?
Not necessarily that you have buried, but we have heard that you
Nu mai
made
trebuie bază, nu mai
statements
trebuie nimic, asta e
that there might be somebody buried.
om mobil. Un caravan.
More specifically, there's a crawl space under the apartment.
That we calls missing. Locked it because I'm terrified.
Okay.
People under there all the time. It's story on me is about that. I had doors kicked in my faces. I was almost killed by old banditos biking. I can't imagine that that's why the arrest warrants was all happening in this same time of my life. Okay, I'm running. I ran to Aurora so nobody would find me as this man's out to get back out of prison.
Is that Mr. Cropper?
No, not at all.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't. I got mixed up with. But that's the person who was Bandito.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Who's, yeah.
Okay.
Maybe one of her neighbor boyfriends liked me, and she didn't like that.
Well, in that case, we'll just cut to the chase. Like, we're gonna go into the crawl space. Are we gonna find anything in there? So not for you. Find anybody else.
I never been inside. I have no association with the crawl space.
Hey, look at
Besides,
you.
There was two men standing
I
right
can't look
next
at
to
you.
the entrance of the house.
I'm breaking my neck.
And the entrance to my house is
Huh?
I walked to the crawl space and I was scared. Okay, like I said, when I moved here, I had banditos looking for me. I had all sorts of people that had made me scared. I'm not easily scared. So that's why I moved to Aurora, like I said, I'm trying to stay away.
I don't like the combat in this crap. I play Battlefield, so
For
there's
several
combat,
years,
you know.
Casey worked for a successful
This is like a
company
snow runner.
and made a promising life for her children
Exploding.
and herself. Perhaps it's not surprising, but her demise had nothing to do with the make-believe banditos, spies, or the so-called strangers that were sneaking into her crawl space. As you've likely surmised by now, Casey is struggling with substance use, particularly, shall we say, the Walter White kind. In later interrogations and court appearances, it becomes clear that she's a very different person when she's clean. Unfortunately, that's one of the worst things about substance use, and unsurprisingly, substance use plays a big role in the horrible situation that Casey will slowly detail for law enforcement.
Can I show you another picture? Or maybe you can find this person. Okay.
We're all friends here.
KJ. Okay. Do you know his? I recognize the name KJ. Do you know what his first name actually is? Carl. Do you know his last name? How do you know KJ?
Dracula.
Years back, we were best friends.
They were best friends?
We are best friends.
That's really
When was the last
buried
time you
case,
saw
no?
KJ?
Yeah, Poland, yeah. That's a top case for me.
It was when I was granted temporary full custody of my children. It was the first time I seen KJ in a while. He walked in with me on.
Okay, how long ago was that?
Fucking cave in
I
here,
was
bro.
still in my old apartment. So, January 2021?
So the last time you saw him was in June of 2021? Okay. What, you said him
Good.
and Leroy
Fuck
were
you.
best friends.
Yeah, we've been friends, but I was told for like 12 years.
Have you heard
no,
from
thanks.
or seen KJ recently?
I'm getting the rock out of here.
My neighbor, my old neighbor, she had that obviously.
When was that?
I don't know, she told me this probably 8 months ago, I think. A year ago.
Where was that?
Present buried technologies.
Yeah, we got just put it on the side of the spaces we got in mind.
Fuck this place.
Um,
Let me know.
I'm sorry, wait, was that in this current complex, the apartment that you're in now?
Yeah.
But so the neighbor there said he was
My old neighbor from Nevada, yeah.
from Arvada said that he was missing. Did KJ ever stay at your current apartment?
Oh,
Did he ever have any interaction with your kids? Okay. Did your kids know KJ or Carl?
We were just talking about, we know him as Uncle KJ.
Uncle KJ?
Yeah.
Okay. Would it surprise you to hear that one of your kids made a comment saying that they don't see him anymore, they may miss him?
Would it be surprising?
Yeah.
No, we don't see it.
Do you know what happened to him?
No,
You have no idea what happened to him.
no.
Okay.
I'm guessing that means he's not down.
And him and Leroy, you said were best friends initially, and you said they are best friends.
Leroy's been in jail for a year.
Right. Since what? September. That's in Jefferson County.
Yes, the fucking engine
Before that, before
are there.
Leroy was in jail, was KJ still around?
That I'm aware of.
And then after, when KJ went to jail, did you see him anymore?
After what?
After Leroy went to jail, did you see KJ?
I didn't see PJ since.
I don't like this weather.
Did and I'm not fishing for other pieces or anything like that, but did Leroy and KJ, did they commit crimes together? We don't have to be specific. I'm not trying to create any other cases or anything like that. But did they do things like that together? What happened with their relationship? I mean, how often before you didn't see him? How often did you see him? Before you
Iluminados.
went missing or you never saw him again? What was the frequency that you saw him before? Okay. Did you come back with your... Again, just jumping right to it, I mean, did Leroy and KJ have some sort of falling out, some sort of argument?
I know that I was surprised to see KJ in court with Leroy. Because KJ didn't play that one.
When was that?
That was 21.
21.
I got into the lesson by there was a protection order, so I don't know what his life is like. I just found out.
From Leroy. But
Secondo me numai ceva
our
de la
concern
planetă, că
is
îmi
that
pula
we
mea.
have not been able to locate Carl. Okay. And some of the information that we've gotten said that he was actually staying or came around your apartment several months back, quite a few months back.
The least interesting planet I've been so
That
far.
he and Leroy have a close relationship with each other, they were friends, and that there may have been some sort of altercation. And we're very concerned about KJ's whereabouts.
Nu știu ce e ăla, nu mă mai duc.
I never allowed KJ.
Văd că e până în outer space ăla, nu?
We didn't even know
Așa departe,
when we were
poate nu vine la planetă.
relationship on the ugly side. I don't trust me.
Casey is having trouble remembering her lies. She starts off by saying her kids have never met KJ, yet they call him Uncle KJ. When police point out that the kids told police they missed him, she backpedals, saying that they hadn't seen him because her husband was in jail, not because of, well, the fact that he's in her crawl space. Her lying only gets more messy as the interrogation goes on.
I hate to just beat around the bush. I was hoping that, we could kind of talk about this a little bit more, but our concern is that KJ may have been killed and that Leroy might have either have had something to do with it, might know something about it, something along those lines.
So it sounds like a rap is trying to pin you on murder charges on the chance.
No, it doesn't have
For
to
his best friend.
It's Jefferson County.
Easy there.
This has nothing to do with Jefferson County.
Fellas, don't speed around me. I'm kind of hard to
The
miss.
murder of the man who's still alive. He was supposedly shot.
De ce să fac cu Starship? Că nu mă duc să mă bag cu nimic. Ce am armament suficient să mă protejez cu asta.
They don't have anything to do with this, okay? And we are merely just trying to, we are doing our very best to, if Carl's still alive, we would like to know where he is. If he's not, we would also like to know where he is. From what we've heard, there's a chance, and I mean, it's clear what I'm asking. we're talking about your crawl space. We have information that he might be in a crawl space.
And so the people who here recently have been under my crawl space, been playing frequencies that me and my children have heard and scaring the living daylights out of us. Like,
No sweat.
is anyone gonna look at that then?
There's only one frequency that Casey should be concerned about. Jokes aside, a frequent side effect of substance use is psychosis and delusional thinking, which likely explains why Casey has latched on to every conspiracy theory you can think of. People spying on her, frequencies being played, police tracking her, and people inside her walls.
These are obviously pretty specific allegations. We didn't just make this up. Okay? And that's why I'm being straight with you. I'm showing you these pictures. I'm asking you all this information directly, okay? When we open the crawl space up, what are we going to find in there?
I don't know. I've never been under there.
Okay. Do you know if Leroy ever went under there? Okay. Would anyone else? Would KJ have had a reason to be under there?
How the fuck do I set the waypoint for this? I don't know how.
Okay.
Mă omoară psihic chestia asta. Vezi, aici deja mulți player nu mai au chef de joc. Asta e tâmpenia meniului. Așa un căcat e ăsta de... Nu mă pot mișca cu un chat, trebuie să zbor prin tăți, să trag, ferește, mă.
No, it's never been a frequent thing.
Da, dar unde e stranger coordinates ăsta? Unde e morții, mă, să-i... Trebuie să mă duc să vorbesc cu cineva, în pula mea. Objectivul zice să mă duc în altă galaxie și în mod normal asta trebuie să fac. Da, ba pula în stranger coordinates a lui, nu? Fii sănătos. Bun.
And it's not strange to you that he's just vanished? Gone off the face of the earth?
I didn't know he was gone off the face of the earth. I don't keep track of my children's fathers, people.
Okay, well, you just said you hadn't seen him for this amount of time.
He's not my friend. He's not my friend.
Rămân antigen solar, că bă, că aici nu... Nu este nimica. Ce întrebă mie? Unknown planet, mamă ce Saturn e ăsta, adică nu-i Saturn, că nu pare a fi gaz. Pare a fi solid.
So when a big fat man comes around and makes my children laugh, and
Tropical planet.
you know, dad's laughing with them, and you know, they talk about and reminisce about times from 20 years back. Like, of course, my children are going to remember that.
So they see Dad happy, they see Uncle KJ happy, and they
De hidrogen aici.
People have never visited us, so the very few people that have any children remember.
Oh, what the fuck?
So we did visit you.
Deus. Remnant of a supernova sau ce dragă e.
Okay, we keep
O
going back.
nebuloasă
I'm
mică.
sorry, I can't
My children haven't seen him in a while.
Toți numai gaze.
It was never anything frequent. Because he lives in Arizona and Jets. I don't know much else. I know that he was here for a few different appointments for Leroy. And that's all I know.
Because we have the reason to believe that Carl did it, and that you had a hand in burying him under your apartment.
You guys know how to do this.
But you have your reason to believe you went to bury him. After we really killed him. In your apartment. If you don't believe you bury him, it's a crawl space.
Vorbim cu oamenii ăștia să vedem cine sunt. Și de ce. Scuze-mă că există, o să zic omul. Da, m-a făcut David Branc, un prieten de-a meu, ăsta, videograf. A făcut o filmare scurtă în Grecia cu luna, așa rostea din frate, cum arată, o treabă. Se vorbesc cu limba mea?
Look at the papers, and it looks like when Leroy was sitting in this gel, and I couldn't find him anywhere, that Aurora did some pretty sketchy stuff. There's nothing on that case face looks right.
Multă lume
And
face.
now I'm hearing this.
I don't know anything about that case.
I
Casey.
know, but
Bun,
like
hai să
I
mergem
do,
planeta aia fucking
and
cute.
it's just
What
kind
we're
of
here
scary
today
that
for
now
is
there's.
has nothing to do with that case.
I know, but
So don't bring it up. Stay focused. Okay?
I didn't know anybody buried.
Liar.
I haven't seen AJ.
Good, take her away.
We were killed in
She's a lying
my
bitch.
house.
Da, pe da, nu, vrea să scape de crimă femeia, nu? Nu că minte. O să fie honest, să ducă dracu forever. Nu e chiar așa mare planeta asta, dar văd că e foarte multă apă și că tot rizezi.
We're not going to tell you how long he's been missing. You've not asked us really anything about Carl, bro.
That's what I'm asking.
It's because you really know what's happened to Carl. You know he's dead. Okay? You haven't shown any concern since we started here. That you care where Carl is, or do you have information on Carl? This man is an uncle to your kids.
A man who has seen my children a few times.
You're the one who is described him as an uncle to your kids that makes them laugh. Okay?
I'm done.
He's like family.
I was never allowed friends because of the relationship I was in. I'm done talking.
That's fine for right now. We're gonna go ahead and go forward with our search warrant. Alright? But that being said, and you don't have to answer this at all, okay? You told Sierra that Leroy killed Carl, and that he was buried under your apartment. It's plain and simple. That's why we're here. Okay? That's why we're here. And again, you don't have to say anything. Alright? But that has been what has led us to this point. And every time we bring up the fact that he has been murdered and he is under your apartment, you get emotional. Alright? You have an emotional response to it.
I'm sorry, I got emotional when I see my children's father's picture. That's emotional.
Alright, again, we're gonna take a little break here, okay?
Agreed. I'm done talking.
That's fine. Okay, that's okay. And step out there, alright? We'll have an officer outside, and we'll see if we can get you maybe a bit of water or something like that, okay?
Police leave Casey alone in the room for over an hour. When they finally return, they have news that she isn't going to like hearing.
I told you I'd give you some updates about your keys and everything. They are there. They're at the apartment, and we'll make sure that those get to you, okay? It sounds like, I think everything is squared away as far as your car, kids, the dogs. You know, I don't think we have any concerns there, okay? Again, as we mentioned, you just have this traffic warrant that will get you processed. Hopefully that'll do that, okay? Now, what I can tell you is we did make it into the crawl space, and we found more or less what we thought. Okay? And I understand you were a little upset with some of the things we were saying. But we would like to come back and speak to you and just not be confrontational, nothing like that. We just want to talk to you, okay? But as I mentioned, our other detectives were over there, and they did go into the crawl space we were talking about, and well, that appears to be what we found. Well, that's kind of up to you.
Bad landing.
That's why we're coming here.
Are suficient pedală.
We'll come into that
Dracu
point
mă lovesc.
where obviously we're going to have an ongoing investigation, right? There's a lot of work for us to do.
Oh my fucking god, ce ăla.
Now
Nu a fost
is
nimic
your
până
time,
m-am ajuns aici, bani.
okay? Now is your time
I don't like this shit.
to
I'm taking damage.
say your piece.
My piece?
To try to
That's
try
not
to
so
give us. 'Cause you're not going to have. It would be
Io sono
unlikely
просто.
that you're going to have
Ma
another
si analizzato
opportunity to
fra
give us your side of the story.
I don't even know anything about this. How would I have to say my piece with what?
Well, let me just, if you don't mind, me explaining this to you, can I just sort of lay it out for you?
That's what just now.
Please.
So, and just to show you, you know, you talked about people making
Ancient
things up
civilization problems.
and things being contrived and stuff like that. Well, here's the thing. We got all this information, enough to the point where a judge felt like we had grounds to write a search warrant for this crawl space. And lo and behold, we go in there and we find exactly what we were talking about. And those are a lot of coincidences. And all this information, everything that we have, came from your statements. Okay? It all came from your statements that were made. That's how we got all of this. Okay?
But what statements were those?
You told somebody that TJ was buried in your crawl space. We didn't make this up. We don't.
No, I did not.
Well, we were told that.
Okay.
We were told that, and
Too bad that's what успешно открыть page up
hey, how
in
about this? I'm just trying to explain to you how we got to where we got, and now we are where we feel like we have located exactly what it was that we were questioning about. Would you like me to prove it to you?
No, I don't. I'm good. I don't know. I don't know what the hell is going on. I know I've been being followed for a year, and some pretty weird stuff has been happening left and right around. And
And Casey, here's the deal. We're trying to be very respectful to you because we don't think that you're the primary person involved in this. We don't. That's why we're being, for lack of a better term, we're being soft. Okay? Because we don't think that you are the person who created this whole mess. Okay? But we do think you know about it. And we do think that maybe you were somehow involved in getting this under here. So this is your opportunity to decide where we're going to go with this. Okay? Well, that's the problem. You can't sit and tell me that you don't know anything about it. The whole way we got here was by you telling somebody that this is what happened.
I never said anything to anybody about this same thing.
To be fair, Casey probably doesn't remember telling Sierra about the crime. According to Sierra, Casey broke down and confessed the details of the crime to her while she was heavily under the influence, giving details even down to where they hid the body. While Casey was sitting in the interrogation room, police found KJ exactly where Sierra claimed they would. He was in the crawl space, covered over with concrete in a forgotten grave. According to the medical examiner and further investigation, KJ had been in the grave since around June 5th, 2022, meaning it took nearly a year for him to be found. Despite the evidence, Casey still isn't
Una,
ready to
aici ai
admit
pus
how
să
he
dai
got
una,
there.
holy shit, bro. S-am venit eu prost după ea.
Somebody made up that you said that this person that you know as Uncle Carl was now buried under your crawl space, and we just go happen to find under that crawl space somebody who I'm guessing.
Ah, vezi, era... M-am dus eu greșit.
That's all made up.
It's over the rainbow.
That's what you just told me. You just told me all that is made up.
No, yeah, all of that is made up because I didn't say that to anybody.
Well, that's not made up. You tell me. It's under your house.
That looks like two pieces of wood.
You're right. That you are absolutely right. This looks like two pieces of wood. What is this? Did we say that?
No.
We didn't say that, did we?
I'm not
We never
saying
accused you of being a criminal. We haven't made any comments.
I would like my
That's right. So I'm gonna say my piece, but you don't have to, please don't say anything because you have to go away. We're gonna get you booked down in our detention center. Okay? It's for your traffic warrants right now. Alright. That being said, this investigation is going to continue. Okay?
Nice.
Though the interrogation is over, everything the police have said to Casey plays on repeat in her head. She only lasts a few days before she contacts the detectives to tell them the truth. At least, the first version of the truth.
Alright, Cassie, well, we were contacted by your boyfriend. He told us that you would like to speak to us.
Yeah.
I just want to confirm that that is correct, that you would like to speak to us. Do you understand that before you asked for an attorney, right?
Yeah.
And do you understand that all those rights still apply to you?
Yeah.
Okay. With that being said, would you like to speak to us now?
Yeah.
Okay, Cassie, well, I'm sorry, Casey, I keep doing that. You reached out to us, alright, for your boyfriend, and you stated that you would like to speak to us. So, what
Kidding me.
What can we do for you? How can we help you? What you didn't say?
Probably can't help me.
No thanks.
I just know that I don't want these charges placed on me because I did not do this.
Okay. That's fair. Does that mean that
Did you look at my past by any chance?
we've looked
Around
at
the time?
we've looked at your criminal history?
Okay. Did you get to see the pictures of what my face used to look like?
I mean, I've seen previous photos of you.
Of the black eye I had?
Oh my god.
What are we getting at?
What I'm getting at is, we already had a very bad relationship with him.
Okay. We understand that there were numerous domestic violence incidents.
What? Remind me.
We definitely understand that.
I brought Leroy back.
Just wait the storm out.
I don't know why, because I thought, I don't know,
Top page.
to try our family again.
Coming sec, what the fuck is that?
What's good work?
Whatever it is, if it has a sack, it has poison, I don't wanna touch it.
I brought him to the house for Aunt.
Okay. Is that on the second where we were today?
There was one night he was talking about having problems. That he thought TJ was the rat. He was working with cops. And that it needed to be taken care of.
Oh fuck. Why is that?
And the next thing I knew,
Damn, it's a big storm.
I was coming
Portugal.
home from work. And when I got home, he was in my apartment. And KJ was already dead. In my bedroom. And he forced me to help him with KJ.
I'm sure this is very difficult for you. Do you know what had happened?
I'll send that to all of them.
I've always seen a bad over KJ. A bad.
But you know, you keep it storm.
Like white Walmart bags.
Like a grocery type bag? Okay.
You know, I'm.
I love it how people kill each other for some money.
I've
Swear
been-
to love her until death us part. Yes. I swear to love her until I make her a life insurance.
I don't know, dude. I never thought that this would
'Cause
be
I'm a
my
piece
life.
of
I
shit.
never thought that anything that has unfolded in my life would be my life. It is.
Destroyed.
And it's all for one. Finish.
Are we talking about Leo?
Oh, and cake mug. Okay.
I didn't understand.
Oh, fuck. Solo, come on.
that this was Leroy's dumbest idea is definitely saying something, considering the sheer amount of mistakes he's made. However, surprisingly, in his interrogation for the murder of KJ, he somehow manages to make his first smart decision.
Bun. How you doing this morning? Alright. We're detectives with the Aurora Police Department. We're here to talk to you about this. I will let you know we're not here to talk about your case that you're in custody of, okay? That's important that you understand. It's also important you understand we record all our interviews, okay? That's actually required to do that by the state. I see all our cops are body cam. Now, because I do have you here, I am required to read you your rights, okay? And I assume you've been through that before. You kind of understand how that works. Just because you're in custody, I'm going to ask you some questions, okay? Very cool with that?
I don't think she has a choice.
Last time I talked jobs, I know here.
Don't please, bro.
Well, would you like me to...
Good.
I can explain some things to you without reading the rights, but if I'm going to ask you questions, I have to read your rights. Okay. Would you like me to get it out of the way and we can come back to it, or would you like me to just get right to the chase? I mean, I prefer, because the problem is the second I start explaining things, you're going to have questions, and then when you have questions, I can't interact unless I advise you of your rights. Okay. Okay. And of course, I have to rely on my technology here. All right. Now, this sounds like a silly question. Do you understand English?
You know, you say you just explain them, you know.
Okay, that's fine. Just understand, though, that if we're going to start having a dialogue about things, I'm going to have to go ahead. Okay, you understand that? All right. All right, you do understand that you are the type of right? Okay, and that you don't have to answer any questions. Okay. All right. You don't have to say anything. You can stay silent. All right? Well, if that's the case, I'll just go ahead and lay it out to you, okay? We're currently investigating
Îmi fac un rover de nou.
children's apartment. Okay? And we
Warp ăsta aici,
are
holy
actually
fuck.
in the process of serving a search warrant there.
Whoa, what the fuck is this?
Basically, we got some information which led us to get the search warrant and go into the apartment.
No, ăștia nu cred că sunt friendly.
Now, I would like to ask you
Too
some
much of
things
a prey.
about that. That's why we're here. Okay? Now, I sort of skimmed over the legs, but I would like to do that. Okay? Go on. Okay? Then,
What?
and we can go from there.
It's a
Okay?
thing.
Now, getting back to it. You understand English? I know it's
Kill
not
it because I'm an explorer.
The detective reads him his rights, but he's sitting across from a man who has been there, done that, and has no
Că
interest
nu
in
vine
doing
măsa
it
să mă
again.
moare acum.
We're investigating a situation over there.
It's what to my son?
What I would like to do
My
is
son, my Roxanne.
okay. Just show you a photo of somebody. Tell me who it is. Does that sound okay?
Oh.
Okay.
Fuck.
KJ? Who is KJ to you?
Yeah, he was one of my friends. I see him for now.
Okay.
Last time we hands on, he said he was in the other actually, Arizona.
Man, this game is really pretty. Chiar tu scopul ăsta. Trebuie să-mi dai grijă de proiectul tău și nu fugi repede după altul. Ajung să faci ceva mișto. Oh. Da, super.
So, would it be fair to say, I know you guys had some contacts, like with the police and stuff, back in Castle Rock. Does that sound accurate? And again, I'm not asking questions about that case. I'm not concerned about the case in Castle Rock. But I absolutely.
That's full.
Okay. Well, we're basically investigating his
Well,
disappearance.
it's only one thing to do.
Okay, we're
The most epic shit in this game. Summon your fucking
So we're investigating.
Jeez. Welcome. Getting hit by meteors, but it's fine.
Well, I don't have anything to do with that, okay?
repede la storia și
We talked to a lot of people who also have knowledge about it. And I can tell you that right now, also, this is your opportunity because what happened to KJ and where he is and how he's buried, that's not a one-person job, right? There's other people. And unfortunately, if you're not the one that talks, if you don't produce all the story out, then what we have is physical evidence. We have
Okay, bro, chill, man.
the physical evidence, and everybody pointing their fingers at you, so that you take the brunt of everything, right? So I know you're on the attempt murder charge. We have enough information right now to file first-degree murder charges on you. So now you have an attempt murder charge, and you have a first-degree murder charge out of rap, right? This is your
Okay,
opportunity to say
I'm a working class
what
at the
everyone
time.
else is saying isn't the way that it went down, right? I don't know, maybe you didn't have anything to do with it. Maybe you came home and somebody else had already killed it, and you guys have, what do we do? KJ? Let's kind of put it in. Oh, alright, good.
Yeah, respect your time.
Casey's interrogation,
Have
he
fun
does
in
just
space,
the
don't
opposite
instead
of
of.
Leroy.
Dacă nu pot să
I do live next to national security.
tolerate
There are
faptul.
holes being drilled
Bueno.
through my wall. On top of this, there's been other deaths that have happened in that house that I was not aware of. Like I've been spiritually attacked
Să nu te stai acasă, mă,
for
scuze.
months. I sit there over the past year,
Da upgrade pe protul
and
ăsta.
KJ has never been someone who's constantly been in my children's life.
Stop fucking moaning, it's just a firestorm.
So let's, and I
Don't
hate
be a
to
pussy and
kinda
stay in the
come back to
firestorm.
something really traumatic, but let's talk about, you say Leroy made you help move KJ down under there. Okay.
I told him I didn't want to. I tried to leave, he grabbed my arm.
Asta după aia facem. După ce am an entire fleet, I will become
Put him down
a
there?
space transport company. Am 5 Iveco Daily, 3 capuri tractor Stralis și fac for free, toate transporturile fac pe gratis, numai for fun. Îmi pun în gratis să lucrez gratis. Că dacă nu-i dau afară. Nu. Ah, puteam direct acolo, what the fuck, ce prost e. Cred că puteam direct în container, oh my god, am fost stupid. Ba nu, nu cred, că e direct eu.
How did the cement
Good place, ăsta, you take relics,
I
no?
showed you the photograph.
Okay, time to get lost. We looted this place. Da, așa tare furtuna, nu văd nimic afară, grav.
And how long did that take? Did he go and do that night? Did he that day? Did he do it over the course of a few days?
Uite acolo turbinocele.
I think he did it the next day.
Do you know where he got the
Deci așa
supplies?
weird.
Did he dig a hole? Did he?
Told me he dug a hole.
And then what?
No, told me I
Nu se întâmplă nimic
back
alt.
down there. This was his mess. I didn't want to have it.
Mamă, ce weird sunt alea. Să dai seama să mergi pe stradă noaptea și să vezi cum plutesc alea pe cer. Îți dai seama că e sfârșitul
So
lumii.
did you ever go into after dragging KJ into the crawl space? Did you ever?
And this game is beautiful. Dar acum tot am spus chestia asta, dar chiar foarte mult a progresat. Bine, au trecut și 9 ani, ce drept.
Casey, look at this.
Okay, let's get the fuck out of here.
This is really hard. This is not easy.
Normal că are putere și prost, am 1 miliard de cai. the fuck is wrong with you? Yeah, this is Striker 33. We got a cloudy area with lightning storms. We're gonna get to Tokyo, Japan in about 22 hours.
To give us your side of the story.
We're gonna be some annoying tourists and go straight to Tokyo Red District to the maid cafes. Actually, you're not unpolite if you go there because that's what you're supposed to do there, have sex. But you can also enjoy the Japanese culture. Out of all the cultures, the Japanese have the most epic one by far. Just by the fact that they have katanas and sheets, that for me is enough. You sheet out the katana like that, and you put it back in like that. Okay, that's enough for me. White chef for most.
That doesn't sound. That still sounds. Okay.
Well, we will be 100% frank with you. The charge that we are charging tonight is not going to go away. Okay.
Well, I really like. I don't know if you noticed, my friend, but I really like Asian women.
For us to have your side of the story,
food.
because we will get a greater understanding of what actually happened and how involved you actually were. This is obviously a very serious situation.
I know it's serious. Yeah.
Serious is kind of an understatement. At
Yeah, you
this
just
point,
killed somebody,
Casey
what
is
the
facing
fuck?
the possibility of being tried as an accessory to felony murder. Accessory charges can, depending on the severity of the crime,
Dacă nu se
result
bage,
in
îl
life
bagă
in
într-o
prison,
piatră.
which is why police continue to dig for information, and Casey continues to give it to them, hoping to weaken the extent of her criminal involvement.
Exactly what your role was.
I didn't want a role in it.
I know, but you ended up in it.
Yeah, because the man told me he'd hurt me if I didn't help him.
And this is what we're getting at, is these details are important. To know how you ended up in this awful situation that was not your doing.
Months prior, dude, like, the guy put his hands on me.
Unde
That's why,
pula mea s-a dus
that's
ăsta?
why we got
Cred că
in
vine
all
roata.
of this.
Da,
Was
înceapă la
because he
scara.
got back on drugs,
Fucking imbecile.
and he hit me. I hung up.
Așa.
Was scared.
But we believe it. We believe that you were scared. We do. We believe you. We're not saying that you shouldn't have been scared.
Out.
We absolutely understand. Did he make any statements to you, threats to you, anything like that when this was? You said that Leroy was upset because he thought TJ was snitching or ratting to the police. Is that correct? Was that
Getting the
before
fuck
all
outta here.
this happened?
That's my fight.
And you said that he said something like it had to be dealt with. I don't want to be putting words in your mouth, okay? So if I'm
Așa
wrong,
bărâbă
please
sunt
correct me.
delivery.
Let's
Food is
rewind
fine
just
here.
12 minutes.
Feast upon McDonald's.
We're having problems, and that he thought KJ was a rat. who
Not
was
even
working
because
with
I'm cheap, it's because I'm
cops
addicted to
and
it. Big Mac, yes please,
that it
many.
needed to be taken care of.
Yeah,
I don't wanna
that's
die,
what I
oh,
thought
old
she
man.
said.
Well, I thought you said something along those lines. Maybe I'm
Seems like
mistaken.
it sucks to be old.
So what did he say?
Now I'm
No,
just like
mersi.
confusing myself.
Dacă cumva printr-o minune la 60, dacă ajung la 63 pot să mă curăț.
I just know I didn't do this.
Chiar nu mă căsel.
I know that
Aici te
I
rog.
was scared of a man who had just physically hurt me, and it put me through mental and physical for 10 years.
Ciao, ciao.
When I tried to walk out of my house, he grabbed my arm.
This is the day that
Seară
this
faină.
Yeah, this was when I walked to my house and I seen what was up, which was KJ on my floor dead.
Și la noi sunt tot felul de pakistanezi acum care duc
What
mâncare.
part of the floor?
We're gonna have a migrant problem pretty soon. But Romanians are not that pussies.
He was on the bed. This is
God forbid you talk about Jesus Christ here.
And we're,
in
we're
a certain
not
way.
trying to- just sometimes.
No, but I feel like you guys are trying to confuse me, and
No.
I'm not wanting to be confused. I just want to tell you guys what happened. And then I guess,
We're not
Hai să
trying.
vedem. Altă planetă pe aici este?
gel, whatever it is.
We're not trying to confuse you at all. Sometimes we just get a few things mixed up and we just try to clarify.
From where my bathroom-ish area, that's where he was laying. It was like right in front of my bathroom-ish area.
Okay.
He had a bag over his head.
Soarele lor.
He told me that he was gonna hurt me if I didn't help.
Okay. Now this may seem like a silly.
When I dragged him from
A,
that
spre aproape de
area
asta, nu văd.
to the cutout that was in my bathroom or my closet. And I told him I was done. I was gonna have to help him.
Obviously, what happened from there?
Yeah, I helped him hold him.
Down the hole.
No, just over. 'Cause he fell.
Huge bitch.
He
Asta.
fell.
Into the hole.
A,
He fell out of the freaking closet, dude. He fell down. There was no
Ah,
he fell.
it's about the kid! Oh my god, she killed her own kid! Oh my god, ce gunoi! What a piece of shit! Oh my god!
Crawl space is what he talked about.
Killing a child, man, is bad enough, but killing your own child is fucking insane. What the fuck? Why in the fuck did you ever make it? Her, Sophie.
Was he down in there with you?
N-ai cum să fii așa retardată, să nu știi cum să fac copiii după ce iei 1 kilometru de pulă, nu? Să aibă șanse la viață și să fie born, adică să iasă ca persoană, să aibă 70 de ani de trăit și tu să vii să tai aia așa ca păstă iepure când îi dai una păstă gât.
Not wanting us in my house.
But he still had the plastic sack on his head when he buried him. What happened to the sack?
It's like listening to YouTube while driving.
What type?
Down there. Want to know?
What type of cement? Was it a? Okay.
Did he have his own tools with him?
Ai soarele în spate, e altă stea, asta e, cred că e double solar system. Double sun, double star,
Did he do construction?
twin star.
Okay. Okay.
Did he bring a third party into this?
În japoneză? Nu știu, uite pe Google, nu știu. În japoneză, star în japonez, star!
About that?
You just add U in the end and it's speaking Japanese. Da, bă, auzi, bă, fii atent.
You guys ever
Am găsit pe Alibaba fake tits like a tank over. You just dress with it. And you get like huge tits. Și ți le dăm în culoarea piei, da. Îți dai seama, next level of fake.
another chance to kind of tell us about what happened that day, and then from there we get to ask some more
Oh, what the fuck?
I don't remember why.
Damn, these mountains are sky high. Bine că nu m-am dat cu warp pe aici.
I didn't know it was number.
Ah, sunt oameni pe aici.
We might have a line there with your
Dar nu înseamnă că nu e hostile.
and then when you see my cameras, the KJ is at my door. He told me that I was
Fuck. Wow, ce atmosferă are asta.
I don't know if it was that day previous
Damn.
days, but he was talking about KJ.
The fuck is wrong with this place?
Trying to set him up. They were both hurt.
Așa hot e aici?
No, they both got in trouble, but KJ was trying to set him up.
Can't even fucking land.
So I opened the door, and the next thing I know, KJ had my 20 gauge in his hand. They were
Ce planetă e asta, man? I'm scared.
The next thing I remember
I'm gonna throw up, I'm scared. Ah! Family Guy. Da. Îmi place că știi înainte să termin de zis. You fucking weeb. Okay, these mountains are fucking ridiculous, bro. They're into outer space. No, thank you. This planet went through hell. Păi nu știu ce se poate forma. Uite aici e ceva. Nu știu ce se poate forma halul în care să îți crească munții până în... Vedeți-mă ce cutremure trebuie să aibă planeta asta ca să facă munți până în aproape outer space. 200 de kilometri are muntele, ești prost. Everestul are, cât are? Câțiva kilometri, nu, nici nu cred că are 20, nici 10. Nu știu să spun că nu m-a interesat niciodată. Dar aici, la roșu ăsta, e ceva. I really like driving this shit, though. Da, e super fucking heated aici. Well, they talk about green gas, lighthouse, blah blah blah, pollution. This place literally is green. I don't think it gets worse than that. Damn, nu pot să aterizez niciunde, mă. Literally no place to land. Literally. Whoa. The fuck do you want?
I didn't know there was things looking for EJ.
You mean like police or?
Yeah, people. I guess his mom had something on Facebook. I never looked. I didn't want to look.
KJ's mother was desperately looking for him. Having not heard from him for over a year, she set up a Facebook page looking for tips, which is how Sierra found her to give her the information she heard from Casey herself. KJ's mother then contacted the police, which means, in a way, she was the one who was able to help get justice for her son. Because what he went through, no one should have to experience.
So now that we've gone through that, I'm sorry I had to back up a little bit there, but now the sun's starting to come up. Kids are waking up and
Getting
stuff.
close to waking up.
Okay,
I
so
walked back there, and all I see was KJ on the right side of my toilet,
Hey guys, wanna trade?
and where I had a wire wrapped around.
I wanna buy everything you have.
And he was pulling on it from my bathroom, with my shower. He was wrapped around the shower.
okay, so KJ is being pulled around the neck with this wire, and that wire is wrapped around the shower.
Oh, okay.
The shower curtain, shower door. Okay. And I'm sorry, I don't remember what your shower looked like.
It was a sliding stand-up shower.
Okay. With a door, a sliding door. Okay, so it's over the door. So at that point, did KJ look like he was still alive? Or, and what made, and I'm sorry, I know this is tough.
What made me think
What made you
that?
think he was dead? Or how did you
Because
know?
clearly that's what Leroy wanted that night, was to kill him. And he let go of it.
The wire?
Yeah.
Oh,
And all I remember was he was
I shouldn't
crying.
be here. What the fuck?
Leroy.
Yeah.
bi se stao acolo.
You mentioned that there was something over Carl's head, is that right?
Păi și de ce m-am lipit de asta? Ce pot să fac?
Okay, was it at this point?
No, I remember. I'm pretty sure he was covered.
Covered with
Because
what?
I don't remember seeing his face, dude. I don't remember his face, and I don't really want to remember the face.
When we spoke to you the second time,
Ce cu planeta asta, mă? Chiar nu pot să aterizez niciunde pe ea.
it was kind of better account of what happened. Why not give us the whole story then?
I'm so scared.
Okay. I'd scared about that.
What was gonna happen to me? My safety, my kids' safety. Leroy still knows where my kids are at, and that didn't really put me past him that he wouldn't do something to hurt them.
Also, did you have anything else that you were like, this is something that's really important for us to know that we just didn't think to ask?
High sentinel activity, that's
I don't
not
think
good
so.
for me.
I mean, I think that Leroy also did a really good job of making Casey scared about
Că n-am
her,
nici ce weapons.
what her involvement was. And
Mă apănavă.
so that is some hesitation as well.
And do you agree she hasn't like had a lot of access to photos in this case to just like sit and stare at them?
Yeah, I mean, we've gone over paper discovery, but like, she knows what her apartment looks like. She didn't want to look at autopsy photos of a person.
I think that's the most
so
important
yeah.
one for us, just because some of the things she said definitely match, but if she's seen it in an autopsy photo, it's not as compelling, obviously, from
A lot of times clients don't have interest in looking
that's
at
fair.
it.
I mean, I don't want to be there just like, okay, I just want to make sure that's something, obviously, so that is helpful as far as showing that the information she gave us is true information. Well, thank you for coming. I know it's not easy, and basically at this point, what will happen is we'll kind of end this, and Elsa can definitely tell you no more, but we'll chat. We will talk with Elsa and kind of go from there. What if we're going to give anything as far as what's called a cooperation agreement for testimony and things like that? We'll definitely talk with Elsa. Elsa will go over that with you and all of those things.
As a result of the overwhelming evidence, Leroy was sentenced to 30 years in prison. Due to the attempted murder charge he was already facing at the time of his questioning for this crime, he was also
Weird
given
sounds.
an additional 16
Aici.
years. He won't be eligible
I
for
don't
parole
trust them.
until 2066. As for Casey, she pled guilty to being
Dai seama cum ar fi să te plimbi prin spațiu așa.
received a deferred judgment, meaning if she meets certain requirements, she likely won't serve any time behind bars.
On December 2nd, 2019, just days after celebrating Thanksgiving with family, Christine Holloway and her 14-month-old daughter, Vanessa, went missing. Parked on the street outside her apartment was Christine's new car, but she was not answering the door. Despite the freezing conditions, 2 windows were sitting open.
Da, I have to eat, sorry.
But a light
I'm going to the space station for a meal.
When officers
In real life.
entry, they made a horrific discovery.
Ooh, fuck.
The investigation into what happened to Christine and Vanessa began.
Du-te de aici, mă.
Hi there, I'm Kevin, and welcome to Just Thought Lounge.
I like Kevin.
Has garnered national headlines for years. There's a lot that has been uncovered.
Kevin has a
in
cool
this
voice.
case, and still, unfortunately, a lot left to
Trebuie
question.
să aibă 1 milion de subscriber ăsta, dar ce mișto mi explică tot.
It's an unfortunate fact that the internet is full of shady.
I am
sites and
pleased of this
hackers,
design.
So online
Finally, I
safety
found
is
it.
more important than ever. That's why you need a solid VPN. Many thanks to CyberGhost VPN for sponsoring this video. With over 38 million users worldwide, CyberGhost is the most recommended VPN provider on the market, and it has an impressive near-perfect score on Trustpilot. When you turn on CyberGhost VPN before you browse, it encrypts and reroutes 100% of your traffic through their secure servers, so no one will even know about your online activity. With just a few clicks, you can change your virtual location and unlock geo-blocked content from tons of streaming services, including Netflix, Amazon Prime, and many more. Or even land better online deals and play games that are
Dar
popular
probabil
in
un
your
pic
region.
de... din cauza, cred că
CyberGhost works on
faptul că
all
e și
major
pe consolă,
platforms: Windows,
pe
Mac,
mizeria de consolă,
Android, iOS,
dacă pui un
even
pic
smart
de...
TVs and consoles. One subscription covers up to 7 devices, perfect for sharing with family and friends. Right now, CyberGhost is offering JTL viewers
Ar
a
trebui să
great
fie mai
deal
smooth
at
tranziția, nu are pe așa
$2.03 a
cropi.
month plus 4 free months. That's 84% off, along with a 45-day money-back guarantee and 24/7 support.
Da.
To receive the discount, connect via the link in the description of this video. Stay
The
safe.
fuck? Ciao, bro. Așa stă în telefon, bă, deci...
It was the Monday following Thanksgiving, 2019, in Ansonia, Connecticut. There had been a snowfall the day before, but the roads were clear for morning traffic. At the Bright Morning Star daycare, owner Rosie Clark was growing concerned. The head teacher in charge of her infant room, 43-year-old Christine Holloway, had not yet arrived. It was not typical of the good-natured teacher they knew as consistent Christine to be late for work. Co-workers attempted to reach
completely
her
functional.
without success. By 1 p.m. that afternoon, after calling around to family members, Rosie requested a welfare check at her apartment at 6.5 Myrtle Avenue. The apartment was on the second floor.
Bun, I'm too hungry to continue.
Towards the back of the building, the officer observed that one of the bay windows sat open. Similarly, the skylight to the unit's bathroom
Take a
was
photo.
ajar. These observations were particularly
Oh, this is
unsettling,
pretty cool.
given the freezing temperatures outside. There was no answer at the door and no movement inside. Nothing further was amiss, though it
Nu știu,
seems
dacă dau
Christine
acum, de
was
exemplu,
not
la...
Christine was the mother to 14-month-old Vanessa, whom she shared with boyfriend
Trebuie să fie mai
Jose
smooth.
Morales. Jose had informed Christine's brother and
Da, e
sister
mult mai less
that he
choppy.
saw Christine that morning
Motion
around
blur
7 a.m.
sometimes is not
as
bad.
she left
Hai
for
să văd
work
cum e
with
motion blur-ul
Vanessa.
pe navă.
Her work at the daycare meant that Vanessa could stay with her every day. She would not have made other arrangements for her care. Christine had met Jose on an online dating app. He had 2 children, Isaac and Isabella, from a previous relationship, who lived with him throughout the week in his mother's basement in Fairhaven. On the weekends, Jose stayed with Christine in Ansonia. Armed with these pieces of information, Officer Smith and Sergeant Guerrera of the Ansonia PD gave Jose a call.
A girl here that's saying that she's the sister of Christina Holloway?
Bun, I guess I'll
Is that Christina your girlfriend?
discover more shit. Deci paraffinium, copper, magnetize, starboard. E crap, nu trebuie așa ceva. Bă, hai să mănânc, what the fuck. M-am dus pe planete iară. Ok, stop. Design is cool. I love this game. It's a very good patch. Expansion actually. I think it's more of an expansion than a patch. And it also has a name. What the fuck? I'm stupid. But I'm too hungry to continue, so I'm gonna come back later in Battlefield.